Shire, by the way. Dreadnought, battleground number 2. Tempo Storm's big, it's Dragon Shire.
Hey, we're going to the DK land, one of my favorite places here. Tempo has, I would say, top 2, if not the best understanding of control over the middle lane and some of the advantages you gain by that. They also have by far the best understanding of mid-game pressure on Dragon Shire. Something we have to look out for. We've talked about it all the time. Anywhere from 12 to 13, you are going to see a double stack camp on bottom. I want to see Octalysis, what they can make happen within their 4-man or laning situation to dominate the middle lane. Whatever group of individuals they have on mid, if they aren't clearing faster than Tempo, I give this a Tempo.
Tread, you mentioned top 2, at best understanding. I don't think you mean just North America.
You're saying world?
I mean, look, Korea has this I'm diving top fort strategy. Look, I could see it coming a mile away.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Dignitas is up there.
I think it's fair.
Tempo Storm, top 3 in terms of understanding Dragon Shire. Easy, right?
I think that's fair. When looking at the entirety of it, yeah, because I do think that Korean region, for instance, is a little bit too hyper-focused on top lane and not appreciating late game pressure and mid game pressure that can be applied through mid and bottom. And that is definitely what Tempo Storm has really honed in on faster than all of NA.
And let's talk about this, because if Octalysis, Tempo Storm has suffered 1 defeat on this battleground in league play all year, maybe 2, I need to double check that. But if Octalysis is able to out-rotate, is able to outperform Tempo Storm, and then eventually take this series, that's a major statement. If Tempo Storm takes this battleground for Octalysis, they're like, that's fine, we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So
I view it as the breaking point of this series.
Okay.
In my mind, I view it as the breaking point if Octalysis gets the win. For me, that is that is the oh man, Tempo. You've got to dig real deep into your box of tricks here if you're going to take on what seems like a team thirsty there for the throne of North America. Though Tempo Storm is not the team that technically has it when it comes to results. We've been so up and down here for our top teams in NA. I think Octalysis views it as like nobody's really consistently at the top, and we're going to be it.
I'm really curious. Urel seems more likely than Deckard for me at this point for Octalysis. When they're first pick and they have 3 spots, it seems that they can rely on maybe a second support like a White Mane beyond that, knowing that Tempo Storm loves the Deckard. Oh, I didn't think they would go Abathur on this map, but they're going Hero's Hearth on it.
Yeah, you know, there's only 2 words to ever say to that type of pick. It's a logical decision.
Yes.
Favorite voice line. Not true. One of my favorite, though.
I love Abathur.
He's the reason I started playing Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah?
No joke.
You know who my first main was?
Who? So?
Nah, it was an Uberek. You know who my second, though, was?
Toronto?
It was that Sylph.
Raynor, Deckard in the 1-2 for Tempo. So Raynor and Deckard are likely the 2-man up Tempo with a third to be joining in it. It's going to be a primary warrior. Raynor doesn't have that good of wave clear. Deckard, pretty good control within the 3-man itself in that type of situation. But that pick right there, pairing it with the Junkrat, that was exactly what I was hoping to see, even more so now that we got the Abathur picked up by Octalysis. But some of what I said changes because the Abathur is here. But now that they have a Johanna in place and a Junkrat for the offlane, Octalysis should be able to dampen the rotational advantages that they lose by having an Abathur a lot with their comp. And again, back around that mid lane control, which Tempo didn't all in on.
I want to see if they ban Muradin, because now you look beyond that for Cattle. The triangle there in the middle, he sits so heavily in there. He stacks, he's aggressive, he's there very early. Octalysis, they might see maybe a stronger pick they want to take, something towards their advantage. The Junkrat, we've seen the Junkrat, when you mentioned Korea, sits in that bottom lane a lot, gives you that wave clear, and allows you to do work on the top half of the map, which is something Korea focuses very heavily on, something we don't see as much. Another thing to consider for the Johanna is the fact that we've seen Falling Sword already here from Octalysis. Always a threat.
I would expect to see them only be willing to pick up the Falling Sword if they have another dive buddy or damage dealer to be able to dive with it. It does work pretty well with the Abathur. Also, a lot of people underestimate the initiation capabilities of Falling Sword. On a map like Dragonshire with those rotations happening so often, if you pre-Falling Sword over that Dragonshire bottom lane giant shrub, right, like that whole choke of vision, you can just fly over and force an initiation. It's a Dwarf Toss Stormbolt, boys.
The Valeera, they love pairing.
Oh, baby!
Goodness.
Oh, I have so much to talk about now. Samuro is not what I thought we would get. All right, so this actually is going to function much like the Illidan, like that I was hinting at before, but in the same way in the top lane oppression, but it's not going to have the same kill potential or clear or kind of meta justification the same way Illidan would. But, ooh, this is going to be difficult. Tempo has to be very concerned with the top lane.
If you want to see him, go Oracle. I do wonder now, because you can spec into Oracle for cooldown reduction. Generally, the extra range at 7, so Oracle's at 713, generally extra range. But Samuro and Valeera, I was in the middle of saying they love to pair the Valeera with the Abathur, gives you so much kill potential. But then the snap on the Samuro.
So, man, this is one of the most. Oh, I wish we would talk for 20 minutes over this draft because there is a lot to say about some of the ins and outs on Octalysis level. I think the biggest thing here is we've seen Abathur Valeeras in the past. We know what the goal is with those to be able to get the ganks, get the kills, and everything else. But I was so worried about the middle lane clear. Tassadar made up for that. Middle lane clear now actually goes in favor of Tempo Storm. That was a huge pickup. And it's a soft counter to the Valeera, soft counter to the Samuro. It was a beautiful pickup at the back end of that draft for Tempo Storm. But one of the biggest things is that they have to respond to the Samuro. Samuro Abathur beats anybody. It just smashes any lane matchup. So now somebody has to go to top. But if they're always going top, that Valeera suddenly becomes an actual effective hero at other parts of the background. This is... oh, man, the ins and outs. Valeera has so much on her shoulders this game.
Watching and waiting in the bush will be Valeera. Let's go into game number 2. See if Octalysis can take a game off Shire, off of Tempo Storm. I'm super excited. Tassadar does have that soft counter. I am curious. So Tassadar does it in 2 ways. One, the Oracle, but also the Side Storm can act as a reveal in a general area. You can't path through that, but the Oracle obviously there. The one thing for me, though, that I really want to see is Tassadar's pathing when he doesn't have that available to him. Tassadar's made of paper.
Yeah.
In post-level 7, Valeera has double scissors in her hands with that Q on the Sinister Strike. And after you silence him, he can't walk away with that super long silence. We'll see.
Samuro has one of the best solo lanes on the top half of the battleground purely off of his siege capabilities that he demands answers from almost any situation. Having the Abathur with him is going to make that lane that much more oppressive. And already you see the positioning of the Valeera to make sure that they get as much kill potential and gank potential on top lane as fast as they can. Octalysis has given up here, at least for now, over the mid and bottom half, and a lot of that comes down to that clever Tassadar pick. I cannot highlight that enough. That was actually a genius response here by Tempo.
When you brought up the Korean point, I don't know if I said it or I thought it, but I'm like, they just park Junkrat in the bot lane and just let everybody else function on the rest.
Yep.
But having the Junkrat and Johanna Dreadnought, that gives so much control to those bottom 2 lanes that they can almost pick where they want to go beyond that.
Yes, which is why you actually see that happening right now. Johanna's rotating top while the Samuro is actually transitioning bottom. They're trying to get a laning mismatch in favor of Octalysis. Samuro gonna go ahead and start this camp right up. Now, Jayhow, I don't think this is going to happen, but one thing to think about is if we do get an adrenal overload, Samuro is one of the most intimidating characters with that level 4 talent on Abathur and can make that laning problem that much more. But it does limit the healing capabilities quite a bit of the Abathur comp.
You mentioned how strong Samuro's sieging potential is. He even goes Way of Illusion, which when your clones are critically hitting heroes, you get bonus attack damage. And a stacked Samuro is terrifying. I don't play against Samuro often because he's not super popular in most levels of play, but when a Samuro non-clone hits you, but the Samuro hits you, you feel it.
Yeah, you definitely do. Right now, the Knights are feeling it. Feeling the slap there of Goku. He's going to pick that up. His top shrine controlled there by Johanna for Octalysis. Is the double camp pressure happening sooner than normal for Tempo Storm, but understandably so. They need to get map control into their favor, macro pressure into their favor, and Mercenaries are a great way to do that.
Is it, I was gonna say, is it almost worth it for Tempos or for Octalysis to trade out where top bottom to get that top lane control for the gank potential onto a Blaze? I thought they might have committed more members to the top to just expose this top lane and then bully that bot lane early.
I don't think so, because once that fort goes down, Samuro loses a lot of value. Normally when we see Samuro Abathur compositions, it's in lanes where past the fort, they can get more past that, right? But once you get the fort, you're just like, I'm not going to push this keep. I'm on the wall of death. Whereas if this was Sky Temple, for instance, top lane push, I'd be like, yeah, somebody get back to the keep. He is going to take that keep too. So I think if you trade on Dragon Shire with the Samuro Abathur matchup, which keep in mind is something we don't say very often or see very often, it doesn't seem to me like it would be a profitable trade. Whereas normally, I do like your thought process there. Yeah, just be like, okay, that's fine, and get the Valeera Abathur up there all day.
I like the counterpoint. It brings up a very interesting perspective, and a perspective that June does not want to see is having a Valeera on top of him. That is going to be a kill. Draded has to be able to walk away from Fan there. There's going to be another lockdown here. Draded seeing if he can find any point of getting in, but once Ben comes down, no way to get there. Our first blood comes by way of Valeera, and that power spike comes in at 7 and potentially 16. Let's see if Draded can get on another target.
Stormbolt not going to land that time. Draded going to move forward. Focus on the Fan. Shield comes out from Ben in a second. Nope, just out of range.
Dude, I'm telling you, post level 7, that's insane.
It's going to rip up.
Like, everybody on that back line. It's pretty squishy. There's a double root in there. Cattle keeping control of that front line. Prismat coming down. In comes another attempt. Draded gets the jump onto Ben. Uses that from range. Uses that as a way to bridge the gap down there. Gets another kill onto Muradin.
And J-Hal, you were talking about the 7 spike with the Valeera as Dragonite picked up here by Goku. But at level 7, we also get the Phantom Pain pickup by increasing 45% of the basic auto attack damage for every clone and mirror image that is active. That amplifies the 1 versus 1 of Blaze with the Samuro on the top lane. That's going to get worse as we move on to Heroics post 10 with the Mirror Illusion opportunities. It is a tough time. Tempo does have a really big window in this game, though. And I know this is a strategy we don't talk about a lot, but I would say this is a game where it's relevant. Is just go, can Octalysis win if they don't snowball this game out of control on a dead even 20 versus 20?
Oh, they just ganked a Blaze up there. Well, I mean, continuing the snowball, continuing to get kills and deny experience is a very good way to do that.
Huge play, actually, and the fact that they get that kill and look at forcing the denial of the rotation there from Cattle up towards top.
Yeah, that
experience heavily in favor. But what I was just going to paint was, if you're Tempo Storm and you get against wild compositions like this, you can sometimes say, can we just try and stall the game and just wait for the 20 mark without falling too far behind? This is a comp where maybe you can make that happen, but now Octalysis has a big enough lead that I don't think that's going to be a true statement for much longer. Iron Skin drop, Concussion Mine pushing out Cattle for a little bit. He gets silenced. Goku throws down a lot of damage there, and that is another kill as Dimensional Shift comes out. Riptire in hot pursuit there as the Falling Sword comes in. I respect the attempt, though.
Short enough cooldown on Falling Sword. Riptire, will you have another opportunity in the next 60, 70 seconds from now? Maybe not. But Siege Giants are here, coming from the top and the bottom. No 10 available. Octalysis, early control Dreadnought. This is a wild draft that is working very well in the early game. 5 kills to 0.
So this is a cool moment for Octalysis, though, is I want to know if they're going to split pressure towards bottom and stagger more objectives and worry about the next Dragonite, or do you force middle fort? With this type of composition that I have and how ganking viable I am with Draded there on the Valeera with the Abathur hat, I actually don't know what is the better call based on this composition. I would like to have seen a rotation to mid of using and exploiting the fact that they have a Samuro and how much single target damage they can get onto the fort, siege that up, and then use the Valeera on the gank potential. Because once mid fort goes down, you were talking about that Tassadar, he has nowhere to go. There is no free fort for you to be able to hide around except for top. And I'm never going to be worried about you sitting behind your top front wall as it is already down and easily gankable. So what I'm saying is they went for the safer route and safer macro pressure, but I don't know if I think that is the most effective call at this point in time with their composition.
Double Shrines already captured. Goku will finish the night camp. Draded, looking for an opening with the Abathur hat, does make it so scary. Healing static gets more value in these team fights. Clones do count as heroic targets if that does open up in these team fights. Can you burst through Cattle if he puts down that thunderclap?
Yeah, they do ridiculous amount of healing. No, Jet Propulsion was used. Flank from Cattle. Stormbolt ends up landing. Can the Samuro make it out? Goku falls low. There's the illusion shift over. He's just fine.
You always have the... Where's the Storm Bolt? Always have the falling sword to get out of those moments. And the Iron Skin first.
Look at this pressure. Ooh, can we see mid for a moment here, Brosidon? Because this is about to be a lot of damage. Oh, man.
Oh, hold on.
Anchor, too. He knows he's there. Great job by Cattle, at least throwing it out early.
But that mid lane
is dead. That is the power of Goku. Should have to teleport a little bit earlier there.
Oh, the clone does... Oh, okay, it just had just enough damage. When they changed Samuro coming into 2018 with the clones, or excuse me, with the stealth, they took some of the power out of the clones and put it back into the hero itself, which was a very good change. There's one interrupt. Glaurung sniffed out. Should be a DK channeled here for Drady.
There it is. 2-level lead, 13 talents here advantage, and Dragon Knight online. Octalysis, startup siege attempt number 2. Now, Jay-How, we've been talking about the kill potential, the siege opportunities here. There is no Valera for the kill potential. Samuro does have the sieging. If I'm Tempo Storm, this game's getting out of hand really fast. I have no way to stop it. This is my best fight. And Valera in the DK is one of the weakest team fights I'm going to see Octalysis at this game at all. I would like to see Tempo Storm use this opportunity to get the clump and try and kill Prismat. Seems like the best target on the Junkrat, is the most vulnerable here as the Riptire comes out.
No minions here. There's going to be the charge in. That's going to split the back line. Does do a lot of damage. The bunker's here. The DK still some health remaining, but Tempo Storm, they are indeed looking for this fight, Dread.
Yeah, they are looking at getting the fight, end up getting the kick there out. Now Valera is going to get revealed. Glaurung is kind of on an island as the Sail While and Listen is used there. June is going to be stuck. Oh man, the isolation actually used onto Glaurung.
That Storm Bolt from behind from Cattle kept Justin off of potentially getting that kill there.
Interesting approach there from Tempo Storm, but they hold on to their fort. If they were going to get that force on that fight, I would have liked to see a little bit more aggression there, because they did end up taking a lot of free damage onto the bottom keep. That, though Goku is prepping it right now, I can't help but feel like in a little bit longer he's going to backdoor that thing himself, and very little Tempo can do about it.
Dreadnought Octalysis might be turning the tables on Tempo Storm here. They picked up their Siege Giants. That bottom Night Camp just seconds away from spawning. You can already see Junkrat and Samuro moving down there. We've seen Tempo Storm execute this strategy. It's a matter of doubling up on camps and then forcing down bot lane and asking you to deal with it. But they picked up the Siege Giants a little early.
They did pick up the Siege Giants a little bit early, and if Fan is going to make his position out there fast enough to get the clear onto it, it might be devastating there. Goku is trying to go out of his way to make sure he gets the defense, while the rest of Tempo Storm not showing themselves at all will make the rotation down. So it will not get the double stack that we would maybe like to see at this stage in time. For me, that's a keep on bottom lane with this composition for Octalysis. I really would have liked to see them secure that.
Well, there's that level 1 completed, so bonus damage now added. You had that stacking up, but you get the bonus 20 damage at the end of that. So Goku looking more terrifying. I really would have liked to see them get that bot keep. It seemed like they were soaking for 16. I think a little more patience on that siege camp could have warranted different results, but they have a strategy in mind they're continuing to work on.
And now that I think about it, you know, kind of upon second reflection, their composition doesn't have the best raw team fight holding up. That's something I've been saying throughout this game. And right now, they are in such a big lead that it is their game to lose with their composition, purely on the fact that they have Abathur, Johanna, and Junkrat with the Samuro pressure.
They're already on Shrines with a 3-level lead.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is they could just easily rely on the next Dragon Knight, and that is why I think it's fair to not commit to that team fight, even with a 3-level lead and 16 advantage, purely based on composition, how big of a lead you have, and things are getting wild there. Now Goku will end up getting in. So Jay-How, you were talking about the double camp pressure that we normally see Tempo have, and Octalysis now picking up this Dragon Knight. There's a big difference from Tempo Storm on Dragon and Shire compared to the composition Octalysis have. Samuro's kill potential on core is far, far higher.
Oh, yeah.
Far higher than most of the time that we see Tempo Storm run this comp. So if they get 1 to 2 kills, question, is this game a lot faster than normal? And Octalysis now move on to the keep.
They can also commit to a clone. Double Samuro on core is insane. You split out the target, split out that splash damage. They're going to clear the minions. Falling Sword goes in instantly. Riptire pulls apart a few. The DK gets 1 kick out. Shield starting to fall on the side of Tempo Storm. is now Octalysis looking to close out game number 2. Stay on, listen, buys momentary time.
Yeah, it buys a little bit of time there, 71% and counting. June going to get kicked away. Once it gets out of that, that is a Submerl, more damage than the Dragon Knight, maybe even itself. Not necessary. 12 minutes and 57 minutes in, Octalysis dismantle Tempo on their favorite battleground and move up 2-0 in this series.
If anybody is watching, I hope they have the same questions we do. Like, who is this team, Octalysis? I'm blown away at how effective. Look, they've been practicing this. They said, when we come back from Clash, we're doing it our way. I had no idea the rabbit hole would go this deep, and I feel like we're not even to the end of it yet.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel we are to the end of it here. But I will say that this is, I think it's so surprising because it's coming from North America, right? It is this play style of really trying to innovate within the meta and kind of break the rules of the specific elements that give you upper hands on each battleground and manipulating them to the extremes has been a European approach to Heroes of the Storm far more than it's been a North American approach since legitimately day number 1. Like, ADRD's been trying to break Heroes since the beginning of time, it feels like. And so I can't help but feel like it's so surprising because it's, for the first time, a North American team that is really keeping on those elements and then going, how can we make a composition that nobody's going to assume, you know, is the standard pickup here and then still make it look as good. If anything, it makes it look even more dominant because North America's never had a team that ask those wild kind of extreme parameters for each battleground and really, again, manipulate the battleground in their favor. Specifically, the Goku rotation to mid was the first moment you saw them go, we know what our composition can do that a normal one can't. And that's when Tempo goes like, how do we recover? Because it is hard to find answers at that point of the game.
It's getting wild. The questions that we have of, is this the North American team that can do it? I mean, they're starting to answer these questions one by one.
Yeah.
The biggest question was, can you do it against top-tier competition? Because so far, it's been 3 series against the bottom half. Now we're working our way into the top 3. They have one more question to answer, and that's, can they win another? Will Tempo Storm find their way back into this series? Don't go anywhere, because this series is just getting started, getting wild.
Keep up with your favorite players and teams on the official HGC website for desktop and mobile. Stats, archived matches, and everything you need to stay up to date with the global Heroes of the Storm Esports League. Watch live on game days and upgrade your Heroes of the Storm knowledge. 2018 promises to be the best year